The Far Cry franchise from the beginning was full of charismatic characters and more its villains, who in each installment were the best in video game history. Remember Vaas, the volatile mohawk-wearing pirate leader who controlled the Rook Islands with a very unstable iron fist in Far Cry 3? Or Pagan Min, as sardonic as he is elegant. King Pagan Min's style and charming demeanor are the front lines of an infinite capacity for cruelty and violence. As well as in the fifth installment that was Joseph Seed, a stereotypical leader of a religious sect who threatened to turn his entire population into his subjects with a special chemical that washed their heads. In the sixth part of this saga, we will also see another similar villain in terms of charisma and his performance as a villain. Today, we will learn the story of Antón Castillo, the feared dictator of Yara. What were the origins of it? Why is he so evil? And who is his character based on? In moments you will know. Do not take off the screen. Before starting the video, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to see more content like this. Without further ado, let's start the video.
Let me ask you a question. Are you prepared to die for your cause? I was acting. Or was I?
Antón Castillo is a character played by the iconic Breaking Bad actor Giancarlo Esposito, who on more than one occasion put the skin on many villains of popular culture, such as Gustavo Fring or Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian. Although today we will talk about the story of Antón Castillo, the son of another evil dictator, Gabriel Castillo. Antón Castillo was born in 1954 in Yara, a place heavily inspired by revolutionary Cuba before Fidel Castro came to power. When Antón was young and his father was president of his country, the 1967 revolution took place, led by Santos Espinosa. It was designed to overthrow the authoritarian government of Gabriel Castillo. Antón's father was executed in the eyes of his son. This fact would be crucial in marking his destiny and his way of being in the future. When Antón was only 13 years old, he was imprisoned and sentenced to 15 years of forced labor in the Yara tobacco fields. After his father's death, during his 15-year sentence, his mother taught young Antón Castillo that Yara had been stolen from him and his family. This serves as the central pillar for how Castillo intends to rule before he regains power. The future dictator doesn't want to make the same mistake his father made by ceding the country to the revolutionaries. He wants to ensure that Yara remains under the rule of the Castillo family, and he doesn't care how much blood is spilled to achieve that goal. In the following decades, Yara experienced a great economic decline, affirming Antón's belief that only the family Castillo could save the island. As such, he himself became the president, elected on the promise that he could turn Yara into the country it had been 50 years ago. However, he began to rule things with an iron fist, and those who spoke out against his methods were put to forced labor or even death. In response, economic sanctions were imposed on the country, leading to riots. As a result of this, Antón became more and more authoritarian on the island, doing what he wanted towards the submissive and punished population of Yara. All these steps will be taken, in theory, by his son, Diego, who was raised to become the new president of Yara when he must replace his father and follow his bloody destiny, also being an authoritarian president. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's continue with Antón's story. His determination and hunger to rule had even more power within him when his mother died of cancer in 2007, and he also later developed acute blood cancer, leukemia. Maria Marquesa, the country's Minister of Culture, convinced him to have a son for the country's insurance in the future, since without Antón's presence, some ruler would replace him with greater authoritarianism. His decision to have a child was made despite the fact that he hated children, but clearly with Diego, he had an exception. Even so, she, Maria, successfully convinced him. Thus, Diego was born.
I needed insurance. But the irony was, I hated kids. But Maria, Maria, she had a way with words. And here you are, mijo.
Against Anton's initial request, Maria does not let Diego know the truth that he is his son and does not want to get involved in his life either, although later in his Noventarmas mansion, she writes to Anton that she accepts the new contract in the one who would meet Diego on his 18th birthday and finally admit to him that she is his mother. Since Anton has blood cancer, leukemia, and she may not be able to raise Diego until he is an adult, Maria assured Anton that Diego would be financially provided for by his estate in case something happened to Anton. The revolution known as Libertad would continue to grow when Anton confronts Clara Garcia and Danny Rojas, the game's protagonist, who is in a war against Antón Castillo's regime. During the war against freedom and his regime, Anton was kept alive through Viviro medicine. However, it began to stop working in 2021 and began to slowly die of leukemia again. No dictator lives forever, since at the moment of being confronted by Danny Rojas, Anton says goodbye to both Diego and Danny, expressing his illusions that Diego will be protected in Yara's bleak future after he is gone. While that Danny promised, Anton dismissed Danny's promise as lies, since he was clearly his enemy. And knowing himself what he lived through as a child, he did not want his son to suffer the same fate as him, locked up in a prison for 15 years and repeating the fate of his father, Gabriel Castillo. He abruptly shot Diego in a twisted kind of mercy killing. Also at that moment, he cut his throat with his tobacco clipper and died together with his son. A very dramatic Shakespearean ending. Now, let's talk about his personality and his way of being, since he is a very interesting villain, a characteristic feature of the entire Far Cry saga. Castillo's philosophy is based on fascism and nationalism, wanting Yara to prosper by becoming a world power. He went on to create an experimental cure for cancer called Viviro. He believed that when Viviro was fully grown, Castillo would enrich his country by selling that cure, which also served as an excuse to cure his leukemia. Anton is not very religious, coming to twist Christian philosophy in his own way, like being a lion that eats the lambs that are the people. That saying became his mantra, that a good leader must be ruthless to rule his people.
You are a lion. And we eat the fucking lambs.
Undoubtedly, like all dictators in real life, he is a rather contradictory being in terms of his way of being and governing the people. As for Anton's character, he is a cultured and refined man with an educated behavior of high society, which leads him to develop a gift for people for diplomacy, coming to negotiate with foreigners of a certain influence, such as businessmen and journalists from all over the world. Will he be able to become the best antagonist in Far Cry? I leave that answer to you. Well, the video has come this far, and without a doubt, Giancarlo Esposito has done a great job bringing this great villain to the table. And now, we have to wait for other villains to bring us the Far Cry saga. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel to see more similar videos and activate the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you when we upload a new video.